We're checking in now with Karen Fricker. She's an associate professor in the School of Dramatic Arts at Brock University. Welcome, Karen.
Hi, thank you.
Karen, first off, let's talk a little bit about your role as an associate professor at Brock, thrown into being forced to delivering the rest of this semester online. How did you manage that?
It was a fantastic challenge, like it was for everyone who is involved in teaching and learning at this moment, but teachers and students alike. It was a particular term for me because I wasn't teaching, but I am the undergraduate program officer in dramatic arts, which means that I do a lot of supporting of teaching and learning. So we were very fortunate at Brock that we were given a week to figure it out. Some universities just told them to keep going. And there was a lot of process of adaptation in terms of there's some outcomes, as we call them, right, that simply couldn't happen in the way they were going to happen. Theater productions. And that was heartbreaking for the department. For students who'd been working all term or all year on a show, they could not put on the show. We could not find a way to support in that short a time doing it remotely. So what that meant was that those outcomes had to be turned into something where they could write about what they'd done, but there was huge loss. I mean, and the ones that I'm really feeling heartbroken for, particularly our final year students.
Looking at professional theater and community theater, I mean, locally, we can talk about Shaw Theatre, we can talk about performances scheduled for the First Ontario Performing Arts Centre, we can look at Essential Collective Theatre, Suitcase and Point, all of those organizations having to postpone plans, cancel fundraisers. Very disheartening for the performing arts in Niagara.
It's a terrible time, and I mean, I can talk about some rays of hope in terms of resilience and amazing things that folks are figuring out, but that does not erase the fundamental fact that the performing arts are devastated by COVID, because live performing arts are about gathering together live, and live performing arts take a long time to prepare. So there were productions that were about to get on stage or might already have been in previews. There were productions that were mid-rehearsal. There were productions that hadn't even started rehearsal yet, but have been planned for 6 months to a year. And that those disappeared overnight, and those artists' income disappeared overnight. I mean, the fact that the Canadian government is providing the CERB and that there's wage subsidy packages available, I think is going to help individual workers. But the questions of how we're going to recover from this, when we stop socially distancing, you can't then say, okay, we're going to put the show on tomorrow, right? There's prep that needs to happen. And there's also the question of, are people going to want to gather together to come to the live performing arts immediately? We're all afraid of each other now. We're afraid of assembly for very good reason. And so that means that the recovery in my sector is gonna be slow.
Front page.
Karen, you've been adamant though through it all that you do see some signs of hope in the live performance industry.
I do. I was astonished and impressed by how quickly some organizations rallied to think about what can we do. So there's been a spate of phone plays where the spectator is an individual on their phone, and I did a couple of them, and I actually found them really charming, heartwarming, sometimes quite moving, sometimes awkward, but I believe that there isn't this binary where we've got live theater on one side and technology on the other. They're closer together all the time than we like to acknowledge. So yes, we can't assemble live, but there are artists that are doing really interesting things around technology. For example, tonight, the Shaw Festival, which is still employing its artists and they're still rehearsing online, they've organized a cabaret at 8 o'clock on, I think, their YouTube channel. I need to check that, where they do musicals every summer. They have some of the most talented musical theater artists in Canada currently zooming a lot into rehearsal, and they want to perform, and they want to perform for us in our living rooms and their living rooms. And that speaks to me of that artists need to do what they do. They need to express themselves. They want to entertain. They want to perform. And I certainly am going to be watching with great pleasure tonight, but also, a sense of sadness that the Shaw's season was we were supposed to start reviewing Shaw shows very soon, like in the next couple of weeks. Those openings are not happening as planned. Whether Shaw is going to deliver a season that's just later or different than expected, we don't know. But it's always bittersweet, I think. But artists are figuring out some really interesting and cool things to do with this technology.
Karen, we here at The Source join you in hoping that we do get back to live performance, live theater very soon, because we do believe in the importance of the arts in the community here in Niagara. Thanks for your time, Karen Fricker, Associate Professor of the Dramatic Arts at Brock University.